Okay, everyone, welcome back to my FPL show. Yes, this is the first time in a very long time that you're going to be seeing me, especially seeing me talking about FPL. And I would like to get the show started right now, but I believe that we have a few things to just get out of the way first before we can start, okay? So, firstly, the last time that you were here, you would have known the show as The Pundits FPL. Since then, I have decided to actually change the name to The Bonus Point. We like this name a little bit more. I hope you all like it too. So yeah, now it's called The Bonus Point, okay? And I really hope that you all enjoy. Secondly, we're going to be transitioning from Instagram live episodes to YouTube episodes. The episodes are going to be pre-recorded and posted on our YouTube channel in a more traditional sense, okay? So for now, we're finished with lives and we're going to switch over to pre-recorded episodes and we're going to switch over to YouTube. Alright, I hope you all enjoy that as well. At least that way you get to rewatch the episodes or watch it at your own time. Yeah, we just thought that was better basically. Thirdly, I'm sure that you already noticed that it's just me here today. We're going to be progressing without John. That's nothing negative to say about John. It's simply because John is the big boss here, right, of Corner Flag Talk, and we can't have the big boss down in the small little FPL show, right? So he has his things to run on his own end, basically, and I can't be running the FPL show for now. That does not mean that it'll be me alone for the whole season. I am considering bringing on a partner, but for now, it's just going to be me. I kind of like it that way, to be honest. I get all the power, yes. It's just going to be me for now. Hopefully, in the future, I end up with a partner, but for now, it's me, and we're actually going to see how that goes, okay? So if you all fed up on me, alright, just let me know in the comments and stuff after you like and subscribe. I do fed up with you. We actually want, like, somebody different here, and then I'll work on bringing somebody different, alright? But for now, just me alone. And then finally, yes, this is a Corner Flag Talk show, but we are still partnering with RPM. That's RPM Elite Fantasy Premier League. Hopefully there'll be a link in the description or something like that, and you all could look to join the league or just check us out on Instagram. Honestly, we appreciate anything that you're able to send for us, even if that's just following us on Instagram. We really appreciate that. So thanks, and let's get started with this FPL show. So as you all know, this is the first time back in a very long time, and I promise I'm going to be a lot more consistent throughout this season. I know that at some point a few of you all kind of depended on the show to get a little bit of info for every week, and then I kind of dropped off. That's my bad. Really apologize about that. It's going to be a lot more consistent this round, alright? So I decided, since this is just the first time back, I'm not going to actually bombard you all with showing you all my team and whatnot. I'll save that for a later date, which will be just 2 days from now basically. For now, I just want to set a good foundation with everyone that is watching the episode. So I'm going to start you all off with some initial ideas. Now, the first thing that you have to consider when you're going to build your team, they ask you to pick a formation, right? So, in my opinion, there are really just about 3 formations that you should be playing FPL with, okay? What I consider to be the best formations are the ones that do not have 5 starting defenders. The reason for that is because I personally think that there aren't as much value in the defenders as there are in the midfield and the forwards, right? So you kind of want to limit how many defenders you're actually starting with. For that, what I ended up coming up with are formations such as the 4-4-2, the 3-4-2, and the 3-5-2. So once again, that's the 4-4-2, 3-4-2, and 3-5-2. I consider those to be the strongest formations, right? There you would see that we're actually limiting how many defenders we have starting, and we're also trying to maximize how many midfielders we have starting. That's because, in my opinion, again, you kind of want to go for at least 4 midfielders. That's because, in my opinion, the midfielders are really where you can get the value. Okay, there are a lot of midfielders at around 7.5, 8, even 7.0, where they tend to get a lot of points. Okay, we're looking at someone like, for example, off the bat, Harvey Barnes, 7.0. That's a decent start to the season, and we know how explosive Barnes have been in the last season, right? Now he's fit again and he should be starting. Maybe that could be someone good to pick up, right? And he's only 7 million, so that's kind of my reason for trying to minimize the defense, maximize the midfield. And then the forwards as well. A lot of people like to maximize the forwards as well. There are a lot of things that could come into play there. I also agree that maximizing the forwards could be a very good strategy. That might even be the strategy that I decide to use for the start of this season. And again, that's just because of the value that forwards could bring. There are a lot of forwards right now priced at about 8 million and below that are looking very good for the start of the season, and we'll get into those names later. But basically, I just wanted to spend 2 or 3 minutes giving you all the idea of why to go for these particular formations. So once again, I'm thinking about the 4-4-2, 3-4-2, and the 3-4-3 and the 3-5-2. Sorry for that mistake, but yeah, that's what I'm thinking about, and that's what I consider to be the strongest formations, and that should set you up for success, you know. Another good talking point I want to say: when you're making that initial team, don't just make it for the first game week. You want to plan for a few game weeks ahead. Okay, a good example of that might be, let's say, for example, a team like Aston Villa. They have a very good game in the beginning, and they have 2 good games after that. But then they kind of run into a lot of the big boys, right? We're talking Manchester City, United, Spurs. I think even Chelsea they have to play against after that. So it's a very short-term team if you think about it, and you might want to put yourself into that hole in the beginning by perhaps picking, let's say, 3 Aston Villa players, and then come the 3rd game week, you're thinking, oh, well, they have bad games now, I want to get rid of them. And now you trap yourself into either spending points or forcing yourself to play through those bad games. That's something you can actually cut out from the beginning. So Aston Villa was just an example, but you definitely want to plan a few game weeks ahead, maybe 4 or 5. Make sure that, one, you have a plan for, okay, I want to exploit a few good games with this particular player, but I understand I'll have to be able to get him out. You don't want too many of those players in your team where come a certain game week, you have to get them out, and then you're scrambling when that game week actually comes. Okay, remember how unpredictable FPL can be as well, with injuries, with games being postponed. I mean, hopefully there's none of that this season, but especially with injuries, you honestly never know when you're going to have to use a transfer. So basically, you don't want to be putting yourself in a hole from the beginning. Plan a few game weeks ahead. Make sure that you like everyone in your team, and you could actually rotate the team a little bit for the next 4 or 5 game weeks. And then you can start using your transfers and whatnot to supplement what you have going on there, okay? So the main point there, plan ahead. And finally, this one is very similar to the planning ahead. It's about making a captain plan. So maybe for the next 6 game weeks, look through the games and decide, okay, what team would I like to captain? For example, on the first day, a lot of people are going to be captaining someone from Liverpool because they have such an easy game. Then maybe you want to captain someone from United or City on the second game because they have easy games. I know off the top of my head, United has Norwich in the second game week. That's a very easy game. If you can captain someone from that team, that'll be good. You should keep doing that for, let's say, the first 5 or 6 game weeks, and then start to see what teams are popping up the most. If you say, okay, Liverpool has popped up 3 times, I want to captain them 3 times also the first 5 game weeks, then you know that you need a Liverpool player, at least one, inside of your team. The same thing for other teams, like say United pops up 2 or 3 times. Then okay, now you're thinking, alright, I need someone from United that are going to want to captain in these game weeks. Maybe that's Bruno Fernandez, maybe it's Sancho, maybe it's even Shaw. Decide who the player is, put them in your team so that when the game week comes, you actually have them all ready to captain them, and you don't have to bring them in to captain them and waste a transfer. Understood? Alright, cool. And that's about it for the initial ideas. I think that should be enough to set a good foundation. Alright? And now I'm just going to segue into another part of this episode where I wanted to tell you all about selecting players from certain teams. Now, when it comes to building your first 15 or first 11, however you like to say it, I think a good strategy is to look at the teams that have good fixtures in the first 5 to 6 game weeks. And let's start choosing players from those teams to become the core of our team. So I'm going to run through some teams now that I think have a very good start to the season. And I'll give you all my ideas on some of the more popular players from these teams. Alright, so let's begin. Liverpool. Okay, very good start to the season. And I think it's pretty obvious where I'm going with this. If we're going for Liverpool, we're looking at Salah, we're looking at Trent. I think these are two guys that need to be in our teams off the bat. They have fantastic fixtures, they are good captaincy options, and they are proven within the league. Salah has never disappointed since he's come to the Premier League. I'm not talking about disappointed in a game, but I mean overall, he's never produced a bad score overall at the end of the season in terms of FPL. I think Salah is about as consistent as it gets at the moment. He's always fit, he's always starting, and he always seems to score a lot of goals. He's on penalties too. So I think Salah, there's not much more that I can really say about him. If you're not convinced by now, I don't think I'm actually going to convince you. But Salah is definitely someone that you should have in your team come game week 1. I want to say the same thing about Trent. We expect with Van Dijk back that Liverpool is going to be much more solid in the back, and that means that Trent has just added clean sheets to his very attacking game. Okay, now that is very dangerous for such an attacking player like Trent. What that means is that just spells points. Okay, Trent is someone that I think you should have in your team. I think that even though he's 7.5, by the time the season has finished, I'm pretty sure he would have paid enough points to justify that price line. And for that reason, he's in my team as well. A few other players that you can think about is Mane, but for me, Mane is just too expensive for a player that, one, had a not so good season last season, and two, just isn't on penalties. So not so convinced by Mane, but maybe he'll change my mind come the start of the season. And then someone else that we can think about is Diogo Jota. A lot of people seem to think that he's going to start the season. I am not personally sure, but if you believe that he's going to start the season, if you have a reason to think that he's going to start the season, I would consider having him, because I think he's only 7.5 million. He's listed as a midfielder, which is even better for us. And he tends to score a lot of goals when he's playing, so it could be good. And then finally, there's Robo Robertson. Good player, solid player. The only thing is apparently he got injured, and we don't know the extent to the injury, so I'm not really going to put him in my team right now. And then it's kind of about Robertson versus Trent. I think Trent is a bit better for FPL, so for those reasons I would sway towards Trent instead of Robertson, but either one should be good. Just make sure you keep updated on the injury on Robertson, okay? Moving on to another team, Manchester United. Yes, Manchester United does have a very good start to the Premier League season. I think their first 5 games are pretty solid, okay? And we're going to be looking at the obvious players again, Bruno Fernandez. Since coming to the league, he's been pretty solid, I must say. Yes, he scores a lot of penalties, but in terms of FPL points, he's gotten a lot. Alright, is he with 12.0? Not too sure about that. Should he be in our team? I know a lot of people tend to have him in their team. Me personally, I'm not convinced by Fernandez, but I'm not going to dissuade anyone from putting Fernandez in their team, because here's the reality. Come game week 1, a lot of people are going to have him in their teams. That means that we could honestly benefit negatively if we decide to go without him and he scores 2 penalties in the first game. It's not going to look too good for us, okay? So if just off of precautionary reasons you would like to put him in your team, trust me, I understand. I might be doing that as well. We have Luke Shaw, one of the most attacking left backs in the league right now. One of the left backs that's created the most chances in the league last season. He was up there. He didn't create the most, but he was up there in terms of chances created. And United have been known to keep a few clean sheets, whether it's a bit of luck, whether it's a bit of skill. I'll leave that up to you all to decide. But you know, with Varane coming in right now, it looks a lot stronger. Okay, and now we're thinking that Dean Henderson is going to be playing instead of De Gea. That, in my opinion, is stronger as well, because De Gea has been known to make a few errors. So the defense is looking honestly a lot better. If Shaw could add more clean sheets to his game, he's going to be a lot better in terms of FPL. So I'm thinking about Shaw. Actually, I'll be honest with you, I have him in my team right now, and I think you should as well. Aside from Shaw, now we're looking at Greenwood and Sancho. Now, these are 2 players that I'm not too sure about. Let's start with Sancho. Sancho hasn't got any minutes in preseason, and it doesn't look like he's going to start come game week 1. So, for that reason, I think that for 9.5, you shouldn't really have that player in your team if we don't expect him to start. Moving on to Greenwood, extremely explosive player. When he's ready, he could score 2 goals. He could score a goal out of nothing, to be honest. Is he going to start? In my opinion, yes. But where is he going to start? Is it going to be as the number 9 or is it going to be on the right wing? I think that depends. Like, I think his position on the field depends on how many goals he's able to get. Aside from that, though, I think Greenwood could be a good option, especially at 7.5, and especially listed as a midfielder. That's good. That's an extra point every time they score. That's an extra point every time they keep a clean sheet. It's good. Moving on, Everton. Yes, Everton have a good start to the season, but I'm just not sure about that defense. I'm not sure about that team on a whole, to be honest. They just lost Carlo Ancelotti. I think that's a big blow. And it looks like Calvert-Lewin won't be starting this season. The only player that I can see myself going for Everton, the only player that I recommend going for Everton, have to be Luca Dean. Fantastic player, very technical, good attacker, good defender. My only problem is he going to keep clean sheets? I'm not sure. He definitely has the fixtures to keep clean sheets, but I'm not sure about the ability of that team to keep clean sheets right now. A lot of people seem to think that the new manager is going to improve the defense. I'm not so sure about that. I didn't see any signings that look like they're trying to improve the defense. And they lost 4-0 to United in pre-season, so I'm honestly not too convinced right now. But I will say that Luca Dean has always been a good starter to the season, meaning that he's always started the season pretty well. And that could continue. Now, whether the loss of Calvert-Lewin is going to affect how many returns he's able to get, and whether the inclusion of James Rodriguez, who takes away set pieces from Digne, is also going to hinder the amount of points that he's able to get. That is unknown right now. Do I recommend Dean? I guess I have to say that I do, but I'm not 100% on this guy. I also don't have him in my team, so you could take that to mean whatever you want, to be honest. West Ham, another team with a good start to the season, and it's always going to be the same guys from West Ham. You know, you're looking at Mikel Antonio, who's in my team. I think at this point he's just proven in the Premier League, and I think for 7.5 that's about as fair as it comes. Okay, yes, he's injury prone, but yes, he scores a lot of goals when he's ready. 7.5 to me takes into consideration the amount of goals that he can score, but it also takes into the fact that he has bad hamstrings. So I think 7.5 is a fair price. I think Antonio is going to be in my team come the start of the season. Two other guys that you consider from this team are Kufal and Cresswell. That's the left back and the right back. Cresswell is a lot more attacking than Kufal. I saw Kufal got a few lucky assists coming towards the end of the season, but that's fine. Cresswell is 0.5 more expensive than Kufal, and they both play in a team that seem to keep a lot of clean sheets. They also went ahead and signed Areola, who I believe to be an upgrade on Fabianski, so that could help towards the clean sheets as well. And do I think that Kufal and Cresswell are worth the price? Personally, I don't. I don't want to put them in my team. I just don't think that they're worth the price. I don't think that West Ham is going to keep as much clean sheets as they did last season, and I don't think that Cresswell, as a guy that we expect just to get attacking returns, I think 5.5 is just too much, and Kufal doesn't attack much, so just keep those things in mind, okay? Aston Villa has 3 good games at the start of the season, back to back, and then it gets very difficult. So keep that in mind when you are choosing players from Aston Villa. I don't recommend choosing too many because you're going to actually shoehorn yourself into a bad situation there, okay? When it comes to 4th game week and you realize, oof, I need to get rid of these guys, would I even have enough transfers to do that for free? Not too sure about that. So I recommend just taking 1, maybe 2 Aston Villa players. And here are the ones that I think about. Has to be Danny Ings. Yes, he's 8.0, but yes, we know that he has been proven in this league. As long as he manages to keep himself fit, he will score goals. And Aston Villa is now looking like an extremely creative team with the likes of Buendia, Ollie Watkins, who's capable of assisting, and Leon Bailey, who I would say is about just as much of a goal threat as he is when it comes to assisting. So I think that this all points towards the number 9 for Aston Villa getting a lot of returns. I honestly think Danny Ings is about to have a pretty good season. At least a pretty good start to the season. Is he on penalties? Not 100% convinced about that. Somehow El Ghazi always manages to find himself on the pitch whenever a penalty is being taken and he takes it, we know he buries them, but it's just not the guy that we want taking the pens, okay? But Danny Ings, fantastic player, great option, good price. I think I would have him in my team. Aside from Ings, there's Watkins. I think Watkins is going to start just as much as Ings, if not more, because Watkins keeps himself fit. However, not sure about the system. I don't know if Watkins is going to be pushed over to the left side, if he's going to also play as a forward. It may be a two-man forward system next to Ings. I probably said that kind of weird, but whatever. Yeah, I'm just not too sure about Watkins. I think he's going to get the minutes, but I'm not too sure about how many returns he's going to get. He's a lot cheaper than Ings though, so if that persuades you to go ahead and get him, understood. But the guy that I would recommend is Danny Ings. And then finally, I'm thinking about Buendia. Okay, the only thing is that I'm not too sure if he's going to start the season, so I wouldn't have him in from the beginning. But I have no doubt that Buendia is going to be racking a lot of assists throughout the season. He's a highly creative player, and we've seen him in the league before. We know what he can do, and this is 2 years later. He's definitely got a lot better. So yeah, Buendia is someone I would consider, just not for the first game week. And then when it comes to the defenders, look, as goated as Emi Martinez is, I just don't think that Villa defense is going to be able to stand up the way that they did last season. I'm not convinced on the defenders. I think that they're overpriced as well, and I'm not taking any of them for those reasons. Finally, Manchester City. Listen, it doesn't even matter the fixtures when it comes to City. The hardest thing is predicting who's going to start. And here's who I think is going to start. Ruben Diaz, nailed. Okay? That guy is playing most of the season. I understand if you don't want to start with him because you think that there are better value options out there. Ruben Diaz doesn't really get much bonus points. He doesn't score goals. He's a centre back. It's pretty boring. And he's 6.0. You're looking at clean sheets only. And City does not have the best start to the season. But it's Manchester City. So when you start weighing the pros and the cons, maybe you start thinking to yourself, well, okay, Diaz actually might be a good option to just sit there, rot away. I don't ever have to touch him, but he'll get me points, and I'm happy about that because he doesn't get injured. He plays every minute. Manchester City is one of the best teams in the league. They were the best defense last season, statistically. So I can understand why you would think that Ruben Diaz is a good option. Do I have him in my team? Personally, I don't. But it's not because he's a bad player. It's just because I can't afford him. That's the only reason. If I could, I would have him. Riyad Mahrez. I think this guy is a must-own for the start of the season. Honestly. That game against Norwich is looking so appetizing. I think that Mahrez is going to play, for sure. Why is he going to play? Because, okay, he's one of the only guys that are fit right now. He's one of the only guys that had the entire summer off. He's been getting consistent game time in preseason, and a lot of his competitors within the team right now are just not available. We're looking at Sterling had a very long summer with England in the Euros. We're looking at Bernardo Silva, also partake in the Euros. Not sure if he's going to start this season. Grealish just came in, hasn't been integrated into the system yet. Is he going to start? I'm honestly not sure. But he shouldn't be competing with Mahrez anyway. And then Phil Foden apparently has a knock. KDB also has a knock. That means that they'll probably be taking a winger, putting them into KDB's spot. So yeah, I honestly think that Mahrez is safe for the first 2 or 3 games. And that's why I'm going to have him come the start of the season. And with that, this very long introductory episode is going to be concluded. So once again, thanks a lot for everyone that managed to come out and watch this episode. I really hope that you all enjoy the new way that we're going to be running the episodes. Yes, it's not live anymore, it's pre-recorded, and yes, it's not on Instagram, it's on YouTube. But if at any point you have any problems with it, please leave it down in the comments. I'll definitely reply to you, and I love feedback, so I would love to see what you all are saying. Also, if you have any questions, put them in the comments. I'll answer every single one of them. Mainly because we're not that popular yet, so it's pretty easy to answer all the questions. But yeah, you can also message me on Instagram. You can message us through Corner Flag. You can message me through RPM. I will reply, no doubt, hands down, every single time. If you have a question, send it to me. I'll reply. I'll try to give you the best advice that I could possibly give you. And whether you take it or not, it's up to you. No problem. If you just want to have a conversation too, that's fine. about FPL. Yeah. Okay. That I think this was good. I think this was a good episode. Thank you once again for coming out, and stay tuned for the other episode. It will be uploaded on Thursday, so we'll be back. Thanks a lot, and see you all on Thursday.